SMEAL Junior Career Orientation webinar. So my name is Maria. I am the Change of Campus Program Coordinator and a career coach in the Business Career Center in the SMEAL College of Business. So I'm generally speaking going to be your go-to person in the office for everything career prep and career strategies oriented. So, please remember my name, take a picture of my email if you want to, and please feel free to reach out in the future. So let's get started. All right, so why are we having this webinar? This is something that, we as an office try to really prioritize every August right before the semester starts, because we want to make sure that you're as prepared for peak internship recruiting season as possible. One of the challenges that you face as a Commonwealth campus student transitioning to University Park is, you get right on campus and a week later the career fairs start. It's a whirlwind the first month or two of the semester with everything going on career related. And, we just want to make sure that you're as prepared and ready to go when the semester starts so that you're able to, get into those career fairs, get those internships that hopefully lead to full-time jobs upon graduation. So in this webinar, we're just going to be talking about some action steps that we recommend that you complete either, before the summer ends or at the beginning of the semester within the first month, and also just point out some resources and tips that you can utilize while completing your action steps. All right, so generally speaking, our action steps are going to go under these 5 umbrellas. So we're going to talk a little bit about each. Familiarizing yourself with University Park's career resources is really important. All of these resources are going to be new to you, so I just wanted to point them out and give you a little bit of an overview. I'm also going to talk about BA 297, our 1-credit career strategies course that we recommend that students take if they haven't already. I'm going to give you some resources and kind of give you some ideas to get the ball rolling on getting involved at University Park. We're going to talk about how to strengthen your resume and LinkedIn profiles and why these elements are so important. And then I'm going to give you some tips on how to prepare for the career fairs, one of the biggest things that you need to be ready for. All right, so starting off with familiarizing yourself with career resources. So here at University Park, you as College of Business students are going to be utilizing 2 main offices for your career prep. So the first is Penn State Career Services. We usually refer to this office as BOA, the Bank of America Career Services. So the BOA office, they are general for all Penn State students in terms of career planning. So as opposed to the SMEAL Business Career Center, which is just for SMEAL students, BOA sees everybody across all majors. So we recommend going to BOA if perhaps you are double majoring and one of your major is outside of the College of Business, or if you're doing a minor outside of SMEAL. Maybe you're getting a SMEAL degree, but you're kind of trying to broaden your horizons and maybe look for internships and careers outside of the traditional, SMEAL paths and trajectories. Maybe you want to get some information on applying to graduate schools outside of the typical MBA type of thing that most SMEAL students do. So Penn State Career Services is definitely your go-to if you're looking for general career information. And then, like I said, SMEAL Business Career Center, that's my office. We are focused specifically on College of Business students. That's the only population that we see, and all of our information and expertise is within the business majors, the business career paths, trajectories, things like that. So any SMEAL specific information, definitely come to us. And then all of these different elements on the right side of the screen here are the different topics that you can also talk about with BOA and with the SMEAL BCC. So you can work on things like resumes, cover letters, helping your LinkedIn profile to get a little bit stronger, thank you notes, networking skills, how to email employers, all of the things related to career planning. Anything you could possibly think of, big or small, is what you're going to want to talk to a career office about. So any questions at all, make sure you're utilizing your resources. So the next resource that I wanted to point out is actually our SMEAL BCC website. So we have a lot of really great resources on our website that I wanted to point out to you, especially for you to utilize this summer in order to get ready for the fall. So one of the biggest things we have on our website is information on, different employers and the different opportunities that they can provide to SMEAL students. So SMEAL employers that recruit at the college, they have career topic presentations that you can attend and programs that are available to SMEAL students. So that could range from information sessions, it could range from workshops that they do on resumes, cover letters, kind of giving the perspective of the employer and recruiter side of those types of career elements. And then obviously the career fairs. So all of the information for all of these events will always be on our websites. So if you're ever looking to do some networking or just get some more information on employers, definitely our website is your go-to for that. We also have a lot of good online resources that I recommend checking out. So we have a lot of tips, handouts, videos, and all of the career planning topics, like I said, resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn, etc. So if you need some quick, easy answers to whatever you're thinking about, definitely check out the website. We also have really great information on hiring statistics. I think this is one of the most useful parts of our website, just because, let's say you are looking towards, ideally getting hired with an internship with Deloitte. You can go on our website, you can get an idea of how many students typically get hired for internships with Deloitte, typically how many of those internships turn into full-time jobs, what the starting salaries usually are, what the hiring statistics are per major. So definitely recommend checking that out. And then we also have information on career options for the major. So for example, some students know they want to do accounting, but they're not sure what type of accounting. And so we have information on there as well, so you're kind of exploring your options. We also have information on student organizations that you can join, so check that out. And then lastly, a link to Nittany Lion Careers, which I'm going to talk about on the next page. So Nittany Lion Careers, if you haven't heard of it before, and if you have, just kind of refresh your memory, is basically your one-stop shop related to almost everything career planning related. So it's the website in which you can search for internships and full-time jobs and then actually apply for those positions. So most of our recruiters that recruit SMEAL College of Business students ultimately post their jobs through Nittany Lion Careers. So for example, when you go to a career fair, you're talking with a recruiter about an internship, they'll always tell you, when you follow up, make sure you apply online. And when they say apply online, what they mean is apply on Nittany Lion Careers. So this is where you're going to go to apply for those positions and look for them. On-campus interviews are usually immediately after, so this is where you sign up for those as well. If you get invited to an interview, you'll be able to click a slot through Nittany Lion Careers. This is also where you RSVP for and find information on events, again, related to information sessions, any sessions that our office puts on. Actually, it's not just for employer sessions, so keep that in mind. And then lastly, Nittany Lion Careers is also the website that you use to schedule a career appointment with the BCC or with BOA. So if you look here on the left, the right, if you see this kind of screenshot of the website, if you go all the way down, you see calendar on the left-hand side, and calendar, that's where you find the directions of how to schedule an appointment with the BCC or BOA. Let's keep that in mind as well. All right, so lastly, I just wanted to reemphasize our employer events that we have. So all of them are going to be virtual this fall. In addition to us having some restrictions on how many people can meet in person, companies are restricting, how many recruiters can go and visit campuses. And because of that, recruiters just thought it'd be easy in general to just have all of their events be virtual. So all of the information sessions, networking events, career topic workshops will be virtual for the fall. You can find more information on our website, like I said, RSVP through Nittany Lion Careers, but I can't emphasize enough how useful these sessions are and how much I encourage that you attend them, because one of the biggest things that you can do to stand out when you start applying for internships is network in advance. And, getting that face-to-face or virtual face-to-face, I suppose, time with those recruiters helps them remember you, it helps them kind of remember your name and your face so that when you end up applying, when you get those interviews, you've already established those connections. And a lot of our students report back to us and say that they ended up getting internships and jobs through the networking they did at these virtual employer events, well, in person typically. So I can't recommend enough. If you have some companies that you're interested in working for and you check our website and you see that they're having a session, definitely go. All right, so next thing is our BA 297 One Credit Career Strategies course. This is a course that we typically offer in person, but will be all virtual this semester. Basically to Penn State SMEAL students of all years. And it's, a class that we have that's focused on just career prep and career strategies. So giving you all of the information possible to kind of, go through the career prep process, putting your best foot forward. So all of the topics that we cover in this class are here on the left in this blue box. So it's information like cover letters, phone and email etiquette, technology in the workplace, ethical job search processes, how to evaluate job offers. So anything and everything related to career prep, we do cover in this course. It's only a 1 credit class. It only meets once a week on Wednesdays. This semester, it will be synchronous, so there are live meeting times, just FYI. Typically, like I said, it is an in-person course. But one of the cool things about this class too is that while the instructors are career coaches in the office, we as instructors are more so facilitators for this class. All of the lectures are actually taught by employers and recruiters in our corporate partner program. So, in addition to getting the perspective on our end as career services professionals with like the career strategies process, you're also getting the recruiter perspective. So they're able to give you information on, their side of things. So what they like to see on a resume, what they like to see in an interview, what makes them more likely to hire a student. So that's one of the things that makes this class super unique. So it's available in the fall and the spring. You're welcome to take it at any time, but I would definitely recommend signing up at some point because it is very useful. I see a question in the chat, so let me respond to this. What is the best resource to brainstorm companies to apply for based on your interests? Okay, that's a great question. I'm actually going to talk about researching companies. So if it's okay, I think I'll get to it a little bit later. Oh, sweet, cool. All right. All right, so next thing, making a plan to get involved. So one of the things that I really recommend that Commonwealth campus students do when they transition to University Park is make a plan before school starts to get involved. Do your research on clubs, student organizations, athletics, part-time jobs, anything you want to get involved in ahead of time. Because when you start going to those career fairs, it's great to already have some established new University Park specific things on your resume. So I definitely recommend getting involved ASAP. So in general, when you're giving a resume to a recruiter, obviously you want to put your best foot forward and show that you're as employable as you can possibly be. And when thinking about your employability, it's good to think about the skills that you want to have on your resume. So we always recommend that students have a lot of leadership. That's a big buzzword. Everybody knows that leadership is important, but it's also important to think about analytical skills. Can you demonstrate that you're somebody who takes initiative? Can you demonstrate that you're somebody who's organized and has organizational skills and abilities? Are you somebody who's very adaptable? Like, how can you showcase that on your resume? So, not all of these things can necessarily go on a resume. Obviously, some experiences like a global experience, especially now, is completely and totally limited. But as many of the things that you can get on here as possible on a resume, the better. And especially think about the things that are more specific kind of to your career path. So for example, some students who are majoring in MIS, the analytical skills and computer skills are really important for them. And somebody who's majoring in finance definitely needs to have a lot of leadership. So think about those skills as you move forward. So when we're thinking about these skills, obviously we need to get them from somewhere. So these are just some kind of ideas that we recommend you take a look at and try and add to your resume if possible. Again, it's not feasible to get all of these, but hitting, half or a few is definitely helpful. So as you're brainstorming ways that you like to get involved at University Park, keep these different experiences in mind. One thing I want to point out as well is quality over quantity is always in your best interest. So it's better to have a resume where you're involved, like I said, in a few things, maybe 2 to 3 clubs and jobs overall, and have those experiences be meaningful. So be able to make contributions within those organizations, have leadership positions. It's better to do all of that than have 10 clubs where you're just a member, just a face in the back of the room, not really contributing to anything, because at the end of the day, a resume gets you to an interview, and in an interview, that's where you talk about your strengths and skills, and you want to have examples. You want to have stories of the things that you've done. So keep this in mind. All right, so these next two slides are really just for your benefit in terms of the actual information. It doesn't require too much explanation, but I wanted to put all of these links up for you so that you could like take a screenshot or take a picture, or if you want, if you shoot me an email, I can send you this PowerPoint afterwards and you can download these links or just copy and paste or whatever. These are some really good resources if you're looking to get employed at University Park. You know, the Human Resources job website is a great way to find different internships and part-time positions in the colleges. You can also look at student affairs and see what they have. You can look through police, IT. Some students get involved as research assistants. You can work in food services, campus rec. Some people end up being RAs in residence life. So there's a lot of different experiences for you. So if you are interested in student jobs, you know, take all of these and see what you can find. The next thing is student organizations. I didn't include any links here just because it is so easy to find. All you have to do is Google Penn State Student Organizations, University Park, and you get the link immediately. But we have over 1,000 general student organizations, which is just insane, and 40 plus SMEAL specific student organizations. So what I usually recommend to students is have a minimum of 2 student orgs on your resume, and try and have at least one that's SMEAL related and one that's just general, because you know you want to have something that shows you're committed academically and professionally to your future and kind of expanding your horizons in that way. But then it's also nice to do things that are fun and that you enjoy and are interested in. So, you know, there's a lot of different types. I listed a bunch that you can feasibly get involved in, but something to think about as you're making a plan. We typically have involvement fairs in person, but this fall they will be virtual. We have a SMEAL Student Org involvement fair. You can find more information about that on our website as it gets closer to the semester. And then Student Affairs actually has their own involvement fair for all of the general student organizations. So take a look on Student Affairs website and, you know, find the link for that and look out for that soon. All right, so the next things that we recommend that you do, and I'm even going to preface this by saying if I were you, I would work on your resume and your LinkedIn profile and get those all ready to go even before school starts. There's a lot of reasons for that. One is just because the career fairs start almost immediately, I think within the second week of school. And number 2, a lot of students like to strengthen their resume and LinkedIn by meeting one-on-one with a career coach in our office. And the first, I would say, month of school, it's hard to get an appointment. So, you know, we're taking appointments all summer. So if you want to meet with us to talk about your resume, please feel free to go ahead and schedule with us or just reach out to somebody directly. But let's talk about these. So first off, strengthening your resume. Resume for me, in my opinion, is honestly one of the most important things within the career planning process, just because in order to get a job, you need to have an interview. And in order to get an interview, you need to have a bomb resume that gets you the interview. So strengthening your resume, very important. If you haven't seen this, so I attached an image here. If you've never seen this before, this is basically our recommended SMEAL format for the resume. So this is a format that we've created based on feedback that we've gotten from our SMEAL corporate recruiters who, you know, have given us feedback over the years regarding what they tend to look for on a resume, what their priorities are, how they like it organized, and, you know, just based on we're more likely to hire students if their resumes look like X. So ultimately, we created this format. It's gone very well for us so far and for students. So I recommend that if your resume is not formatted looking like this, I strongly, strongly recommend adapting it and making it look like this. So in order to do that, I mean, there's 2 different things you can do. The first is go onto our website under our resources page. You can find our downloadable SMEAL template, plug all of your information in. There's a lot of tips, videos, handouts that you can look at to work on it. And then you can also schedule a resume review. So you can do that at the General Career Services BOA office. You can do that in a drop-in appointment with some of our SMEAL student interns that work in our office. And you can just do that in an appointment with one of the staff members as well, our career coaches. So like I said, resume, very, very important. Definitely your building block for success when it comes to career prep. So get that done as soon as possible. Make sure that's looking good because essentially it's you in paper form. So you want you in paper form to look as best as it possibly can. So next thing is your LinkedIn profile. So I attached mine on the left. That's me. That's my face. Probably should have shared my face while I was talking, but it's all right. So LinkedIn, in addition to resume, is really important. You know, resumes are something that you usually hand or at least email a recruiter. It's something that's not optional. You always have to give a resume. But LinkedIn profiles are also really important as well because most recruiters, when they see a resume, they look for somebody on LinkedIn, especially if they're strongly considering hiring them or pulling them in for an interview. So a lot of students tend to forget about their LinkedIn profile just because, again, they're not actually sending a link off to employers like they are with the resume. But LinkedIn profile is very important. So, you know, basically the same thing I said for resume goes for this. We have a lot of information on our website that you can utilize to improve this. And then if you want to schedule appointments with us just to have somebody take a look at it and give you some feedback, give you some ideas on how you can improve, definitely recommend that as well. All right, so last but not least, preparing for the career fairs. So I want to emphasize this again. I know I've said it a bunch, but all of the career fairs that are applicable to you all happen within the month of September. And September is only 1 week after the first week of school. So you get the first week, you get to acclimate somewhat, not too much time, and then immediately you're having to network, go to these career fairs, apply for these internships, put your best foot forward. So a week is not that much time if you're starting on the first day of school to be thinking about these things and preparing for these things. So I definitely recommend you do your career fair prep before the semester even starts. So we're going to talk about that. So like I said, proactivity is the most important thing that you can do. Networking, talking to recruiters, applying for things, resumes, all of this stuff, it's not an innate skill. It's a learned skill, and learned skills, you know, you only get better at them if you practice. So proactivity and effort is definitely the name of the game here. So the first thing that you should be doing when you're thinking about preparing for the career fairs is reflecting. So you know, the first thing within reflecting you need to do is just ask yourself, what are my values? What are my interests, my strengths, my goals? What are the things that I need when I am going to be applying to a company? What are my deal breakers? So Nate, I think this is where we start to kind of answer your question on like brainstorming. So values, you know, everything I just said, this is all really, really important when you're trying to figure out which companies that you want to apply to, because you know, you have to have a good sense of self to know which companies match up, because at the end of the day, you know, a company can sound great and you can get caught up in the prestige and the money and everything else. But if you don't have a good identification and a reason for wanting to work with them, that's a little bit more meaningful than just, I want to work for the #1 company in X field. It's not going to work out on the long run. So do a lot of internal reflection. Then once you research those companies and explore those postings based on your own internal reflection, you need to make sure that you know, as you're doing all of this, are taking notes, writing things down, because this reflection that you're doing will come up in the career fairs and it will come up in the interviews, because companies almost always ask, they love this question, why do you want to work for us? And it needs to be an answer that's a little bit more robust than just your internship program sounds cool and I think it's going to help me with my career. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants an internship, everybody wants a job, but these companies want to know why you want this internship and this job and why you want to work for them long term. And everything related to interests, long-term goals, your values, shared ethics, things like that is all relevant. So reflection process, definitely key. So step 2, got to think about which companies to pursue. So typically what I tell students is in a given semester for the recruiting process, I would identify your top 10. So what are your top 10 companies that you're planning on applying for? Maybe within the top 10, figure out your top 5 that you would actually be, excited to work for. Maybe it's more than 5, but having 5 is usually a good idea within that 10. And then as far as just, the resources to figure out who to apply for, I would say just utilize everything that's available to you. So on the left here, I put in some information of just some different websites that you can utilize to kind of start off this process. So obviously a company website, definitely probably your best resource as far as that goes. So do as much research as you can on their website. You can also use our online business library and Candid Career to get more information on just some different paths and information about the companies. And then honestly, my favorite resource that I recommend to students in terms of like brainstorming companies and figuring out if something would be a good fit is our intern evaluation database. So this is something that we push in SMEAL, is that students record their internships with us because it provides this database that students are able to use for years to come. So let's say I was an accounting student and I wanted to work for Deloitte. I'd go in, I would type Deloitte accounting internship, and every single student who was registered an internship with Deloitte that was at SMEAL, will come up. So you'll be able to click through all of their different, their profiles, and you'll be able to see information like which company location were they at, what was their salary, were they provided housing during the internship or not, who was their supervisor, what was their supervisor's style, did they enjoy the internship, what were the best parts, what were the worst parts, what kind of projects did they get to work on, were they working in a cohort, were they working with other students their age. So all of our online resources I definitely recommend, but internship evaluation database is clutch in this way, so definitely check that out. And then everything on the right is just people that you can connect with. Definitely recommend, reaching out to Penn State alumni, reaching out to other students, faculty. These are people who might have ties to that field or to the company. They might be able to give you some resources, connect you with some people that would be useful to you. You can also reach out to recruiters. So let's say, you have a few specific questions on an internship that you found on Nittany Lion Careers, and there's a contact information listed. Don't be afraid to email a recruiter and ask some questions about the internship. So, recruiters love to recruit from SMEAL. SMEAL is a school that a lot of corporate recruiters go to before they recruit at any others. So they're very excited when students reach out. So please definitely use that. Personal connections, if you have a parent who has a friend who works at the company, definitely utilize that. If you have a friend who is a parent who works there, definitely utilize that. As many people, as many connections as you can make while you're brainstorming, just to get that inside information on the company. Anything that you should be thinking about in the recruiting process is definitely to your benefit. One thing I don't have on the slide, but you can also utilize, is just our office. We've been dealing with these corporate recruiters for years and years and years. So if you ever need an added perspective on a company, kind of what they're looking for and thinking about, definitely feel free to come to us as well. All right, so the next thing, one of the most important parts of the career fair is, or actually the most important part, is making a good impression on a recruiter. And a lot of that is related to your elevator pitch, just because that's pretty much the first thing that comes out of your mouth when you're starting a conversation with somebody. And again, we want to get the job, so we want to get the interview. In order to get the interview, we need to give them that resume, make a good first impression, make them want to know us more. So practice your elevator pitch before the career fair start. So something that we hear a lot from students is they say to us or ask us, what is supposed to be in my elevator pitch? I don't know what I'm supposed to say. What do they even care to hear? So basically, I just put this kind of, prescribed format for an elevator pitch. It's a little bit more rigid, but I know at least for me, I kind of crave structure with things like that. So it helps me to stay on track. And so the way it goes is you talk about yourself, then you talk about the company, then you talk about yourself, and then you talk about the company. So starting out, just saying your name, year, major, any unique information about you that you want them to know about you right off the bat. Then you can talk about, which position you're interested in, why you want to work for this company. This is where you start to reference the research and the reflection that you've done on your own. Then you go back and talk about you, talk about why they should hire you, what experiences you have, skill sets, any, background information that you think makes you unique, makes you marketable, employable. And then after that, ask a question. A lot of times elevator pitches fall flat when students just stop talking about themselves and then kind of just stare into the abyss. So I always recommend asking a question just because it's a good way to keep the conversation going. It's a good way to show your interest. And at the end of the day, people love to talk about themselves. So give the recruiter the opportunity to talk about themselves and you'll be golden. But I'll give you a second if you want to take a picture of this or take a screenshot, please feel free. We do have these resources on our website as well. And like I said, if you want me to email you this PowerPoint, please feel free to reach out and I can do that as well. So the next thing, practicing your interviewing skills. This I also recommend doing before the semester even starts. I feel like that is just a recurring theme of this presentation is do things within the next 3 weeks. Interviewing skills, I suppose you can work on for, I don't know, at least a little while. It doesn't have to be ASAP, but you should definitely do it sooner rather than later because on-campus interviews start right after the career fairs. So a lot of times you'll go to a career fair, you'll get a call by the end of that day and the recruiter will say, I want to bring you in for an interview. How does tomorrow sound? And you're like, what? So ultimately, it's not good if you are not prepared for your interviewing before you go into the career fairs, just because if the turnaround time happens to be that quick, you don't want to be rushing to the BCC saying, I need to complete a mock interview as soon as possible. I'm in no way, shape, or form prepared. So interviewing skills, very important. You can find a lot of resources on our website to practice interviewing skills. We have a lot of different tips, handouts, videos, always the videos and the tips and the handouts. That's a way that you can kind of start to think about these things, start preparing. We also have a website, a software that we use, Interview Stream, where you can practice doing recorded interview questions online and watch yourself back to help yourself prepare in that way. And then like always, if you want to schedule a mock interview or even just schedule time to talk about interview prep with somebody in our office, please feel free to do so. I think I've done hundreds and hundreds of mock interviews before, and I definitely think that they make a lot of difference with students before going into interviews. So definitely feel free to reach out if you need interviewing help. All right, so last thing, just wanted to point out all the career fairs. Again, take a picture, screenshot, whatever you need to do if you need this information, but these are all of the fall career fairs that are applicable to you. Not all of them will be specifically applicable. Some of you are probably not, supply chain majors or actuarial science or whatever, but these are all the ones that are applicable to SMEAL students. So the few that I want to point out, again, supply chain and actuarial science, if that doesn't apply to you, then we're going to skip those, but our mock career fair is great. This is a career fair that essentially is just fake. It's all for practice. So typically, when we're in person, the way it looks is we have all of these recruiters. They're all at booths around our business building atrium, and you can just walk up to them. And the whole thing is just, again, is practice. So you can ask them, can I run my elevator pitch by you? And can you give me feedback on it? Can you give me feedback on my resume? How does my outfit look? I wasn't sure about this tie. Can you tell me if it looks stupid? Anything that you feel you need to practice on and get recruiters feedback on, mock career fairs for you. Our mega fair and our corporate partner fairs, those are SMEAL specific. So those are career fairs where all of the people coming in are very intently looking to hire SMEAL students. Like I said, SMEAL is a school, it's a college that a lot of recruiters go to before they go to any other schools. So these people are excited, and these are honestly probably your 2 best chances to get some good recruiting in and ultimately go and lead on to an internship ideally. And then lastly is our fall career days. So this is not put on by SMEAL, it's put on by the General Bank of America Career Services Office, but it is applicable to you. There is one day that's focused on just business and non-technical related industries. So I can't remember which one it is. I would probably look it up on our website, but that is at the end of September. So like I said, the beginning of September through the end. So I have the times on the right side, but one thing I did want to note, which actually somebody's asking me a question about this now as well, is that all of these are going to be virtual. So nothing is going to be in person, which is good because I imagine that that would that would just be like virus central. But ultimately, all these will be virtual. It's going to be through a platform called Brazen. And more information about all of this will be posted on our website. We're going to be having some tutorials on how to use Brazen. We're going to have some workshops just so people can troubleshoot that before they actually get into the career fairs. So to be honest, I'm not quite sure how Brazen works. That's a part of the career fair planning process that I am not involved in, but my understanding is that it's somewhat like Zoom, and you go in and there are these breakout rooms, and you can basically put yourself in a virtual line to speak to recruiters one at a time. So all in all, it's going to be an odyssey for everyone involved, for students, for recruiters, for career services professionals like myself. But the good thing about that is everyone's kind of in the same boat. It's going to be a little bit confusing, going to be a little bit weird. And recruiters, I promise you, are just as nervous as you about all these changes. So we're going in, we're being positive, being optimistic. But yes, everything will be virtual. All right, so lastly, before we end, my final thoughts here are just do your best with all of this stuff. I know I gave you a lot, and I know that I also talk at the speed of light, so it's a lot to keep up with, a lot to think about. But ultimately, you know, career planning, career strategies, everything career related, like I said before, it's not an innate skill, it's a learned skill that takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of thought, and the best thing that you can do for yourself is just to try your hardest. Put in the effort, put in the time, because eventually when you get that internship or you get that full-time job, it's all going to be worth it. So like I said, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm technically your person. I mean, you're free to meet with any career coaches in our office. They're all wonderful, but my specialty is change of campus students. So send me an email, make an appointment. Let me know if you need anything at all. I'm more than happy to help. Like I said, this is all going to be an odyssey. It's going to be an interesting semester for you transitioning to UP while everything is virtual, but in person, kind of hybrid, who really knows? But like I said, best of luck. Please, please let me know if you need anything at all. So, all right, I guess we're done. I will definitely send you the PowerPoint, Nate. Send that over now. Everybody else, let me know if you want it. But otherwise, have a great rest of your summer, and I will virtually see you in the fall. So have a good night.